So now let's talk about the characters. There are a whole range of lots of different characters that you meet throughout the game. However, the four main characters are Indiana Jones, who's the main player, and Indiana Jones's female companion, Sophia Hapgood. And then the two bad guys, if you will, Klaus Kerner, who's one of the Germans that you're trying to stop gaining some of the artifacts to try and win the war, and his sort of laboratory professor, Dr. Hans Zuberman, again, who's a bad guy, a scientist, a German scientist. Now, if you've ever watched any of the Indiana Jones films, you'll see that they've got certain characters that allow the creation of an adventure. So within an adventure, there's usually a good guy or good guys, maybe a female companion, or maybe the female will actually take the lead role as well. But quite often there's a male and female pairing, sometimes for a love interest. That's quite sort of stereotypically true. And then some bad guys, as we've said. So stereotypical roles within adventure games, that's usually true, as we've said, with bad guys, good guys, male and female, and sometimes a love interest throughout. Adventure-based, so it's adventure-based, based on storytelling, and sometimes some sort of action adventure. In this one now there's some combat, not too complex in terms of point and click, so it's quite easy to defeat the bad guys, but there is a different route through that. Still interactive with puzzle elements as well. In terms of the setting, well, it's a global setting now, so you discover many different regions around the world, and indeed you need to visit each of these different regions, not necessarily in any one particular order, and so it's less linear in that sense, but you do need to visit each of them. It starts off in New York and then goes to Iceland, Egypt, South America and Greece. So still linear in the sense that you've got to go through stages, but less linear than Monkey Island, because there's various different ways through the game, combat and adventure, switching between characters so that they solve problems in different ways, and then sometimes having a team-based approach or a solo approach and visiting each of these places, sometimes back and forth, to gain items and to solve problems in one place that allow you to go to another. Mode of address in the game, quite informal, and adopts a sort of more serious adventure story, probably than Monkey Island, involving elements of the war, even though it's sort of fictional, and there's sort of these mystical artifacts that provide some kind of mystical power in the hope of in the case of the Germans, defeating the British and the US in the war, that being an Indiana Jones archaeological theme. There's still, so a little bit more serious, but there's still many jokes and humour, and quite a lot of adult humour within the game.